Oh, boy.
Jeffrey, you gotta get a sucking from me, buddy.
That was an aggressive lift like that.
Come on, break the record, Jeff. Oh, this is 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 15 seconds. Go for the record. Oh, my God. It's a new record. I'm going to have the mic. Can I have the mic?
So blow, Seminoles wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again.
Well, I'm here. I'm not sure where Corey went. He was supposed to come out here. He's supposed to be here for this big win. The Noles have lost. Oh, it's coming in hot.
I made it.
Team again.
Cheers! Go Noles!
Go Noles!
Hi guys, nice to see y'all. It's been a long time.
Beggars cannot be choosers. Welcome into the Warchant Gameday Postgame call-in show built by T-Spark Enterprises. His name's Gene Williams. My name is Tom Lang. And yes, style points be damned. This is better than the alternative, Gene. Florida State gets a win. They now have a win in the year 2024. I'm so sad, Gene, that James Earl Jones never got to see Florida State football win a game in 2024, but he'd be proud because Florida State found a way in ugly-ass fashion to come away with a W against ACC foe Cal, who came to town. A defensive effort that holds Cal under 10 points for the game. We can get into the stats in just a moment. It's better than the alternative. I'm going to say that a lot. There will be plenty of time, Gene, I believe, for the callers to complain, nitpick, a lot of things to clean up, a lot of things that we do not like. But you don't need the 0 to the left of the dash in the win-loss record after tonight. And thankfully, that's not the case anymore. There is a 1, a giant 1 in the win column for FSU. 14-9 is your final tonight. Gene, your thoughts?
Welcome to the ACC, Cal. Get you some. That's what you get. First game in the ACC. No, you're right. It definitely feels, there's so many of the same things on offense we saw that are just maddening in some of the play calling by Norvell, but you're right. It feels a lot better. We saw the signs of an improved defense last week, Tom. We saw it in the loss, but it was tangible signs, and we saw it. I mean, some of the 4th and 14s and 3rd and 14s or whatever they were converting to Denver was going to give me a freaking heart attack.
Yeah,
they kept doing that crap over and over. But on the whole, I mean, you hold a team to 9 points. I mean, that is not a stellar offense by any means, but it is a team that was 3-0. They went to Auburn and beat them. So, I mean, it's obvious the defense has taken a step forward. Congratulations to Adam Fuller and that group. And FSU actually scored 2 offensive touchdowns, Tom. They said it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
In a game, it was done. Obviously that interception was horrific in the first half, but DJ made some nice throws and some clutch throws on some 3rd and longs to keep drives going. I'm not sure that one that Douglas got that's who he intended to throw to, or what the route was, what was going on that play. Maybe you can help us out a little bit there, Tom. I was confused, but whatever. It kept the drive going. It worked. And then how about finally we got a play over the top of the defense when he hit Douglas for that touchdown.
Yeah,
and that just by itself, even though they would have lost the game, I would have said that it was good to see that. But they held on to get the win. Again, props to the defense. I think the final tally was 12 tackles for loss and get 7 sacks.
7 sacks.
That's doing some things.
3 for Patrick Payton. It looks like 3.5 tackles for loss. 3 for Patrick Payton. 2 sacks for Marvin Jones Jr.,
who is on the team.
Okay, but here's the player of the night. Okay, he doesn't lead the team in sacks, but 3.5 tackles for loss and 1 sack for one. Joshua Farmer.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt.
They couldn't block him. He was back there all day disrupting everything. Great.
The absolute stud of the night. I tweeted out, I put it on the boards in our live thread as well. It's the little things. He's going to get drafted in a pretty good spot because Farmer actually has been okay leading up to tonight. He was dominant. He was a force tonight. Changed the game for Florida State, did number 5. And well, it was different tonight, Gene. The way that Florida State was giving up plays that frustrated you was a little bit different in that they were shots down the field. It was against the secondary. It wasn't against as much. They had a couple of breakdowns, but linebackers and safeties, I thought they were better in passing things off, communicating through motions and wheels. I thought they were better in that regard. But, it got to 3rd and 20, or get to 4th and 15. I'm rounding off here in certain situations. But quarterback runs, deep shots, simple slants over the middle. That's where the defense drove you nuts. Like you want to feel like this defense was dominant, and it was the reason Florida State won. But you're held back from beating your chest too hard because you felt moments like 3rd and Kelly, and we all know what that felt like. Seems like a long time ago, but we got a reminder of what that was like tonight.
But
so,
Tom, they were making plays. They were
making
plays. They went and made a lot. Like we said, all that huge 12 tackles for loss. That's actually doing something. Yeah. They got an interception. They should have, gotten the fumble, but they forced a fumble to keep point down the end of it. So they're actually doing some things. They're giving up too many of those long plays, but it's not bad. If you can go ahead and get that many sacks and that many TFLs, you're going to win a lot of games. Yeah,
and some of the breakdowns tonight were by young players, and I'm living with that, even if it cost Florida State the football game. Like if Edwin Joseph gets beaten one-on-one against a tight end on 4th down, like that sucks. But I would rather it be him than somebody who's been here 4 years making the same mistake over and over again. There was a bust that Florida State had when Cal was deep in their own territory. No, not the one when they're in the end zone, a different time, where Jabril Rawls, turns a guy loose. To me, let the young players make those mistakes. Let them learn. Let them improve. I saw plays being made by Kirkland in space. Conrad Hussey made a few plays in space. Obviously, Joseph comes away with the interception. He gets a late hit penalty for trying to punch the ball out. I'm not going to kill him for that one. You saw a rotation, Gene, defensively, where different guys were making plays on the defensive line. I thought Grady Kelly had a few standout plays tonight. Florida State was rotating a little bit more. And the defense, you saw different guys taking turns making plays in the backfield, but Josh Farmer was the anchor. I mean, he was the one that drove the bus. We've been begging for to drive the bus, and finally number 5 did for Florida State tonight. It's not that Patrick Payton didn't play well. He did, but he cleaned up a couple of things, which he's in position to do, and he made a couple of big plays, Gene, one of which was the scramble to the left.
Catching the quarterback from behind. That was huge.
Shoestring tackle, he played well in the spy that he was in several times. Like Payton played a good game, but Josh Farmer's the MVP. It's not even close. I know we haven't touched on the offense yet because I think, Gene, it's very simple for DJ. 3rd down, DJU bailed out the rest of DJU. And I know he threw a pick on 3rd down in a situation you could do nothing else. Like, there's nothing wrong. Even a sack is not wrong in that situation. Only an interception is the wrong answer in that 3rd and long early in the game, first half. And he throws a pick because, of course, he does. And he forces a ball into an area that he never should have forced the ball. But other than that play, on 3rd down, DJ found magic enough for Florida State to win the football game. So you have the awful, and then you have the, okay, well, if you're going to make that throw, that's who DJU was tonight.
Yeah, no, he, like I said, it was a little back and forth with him during the game. But, I was amazed at some of those 3rd and long pickups. He had something we hadn't seen, other maybe that final drive against Georgia Tech in Dublin. He had some, key throws like that. But I didn't know he had that in him. But he did have that in him all through the game. So props to him. It was good to see Douglas come through. He's been with the program for so long. He's dependable. He made some plays. Hakeem made a little splash play here or there. It was good to see him get back out there. It'd be really huge for him. But it's interesting you brought up, Tom, some of the younger players. And something we've all been talking about the last couple of weeks is why not go to more youth? And I noticed a lot of that on defense. I was looking up some of the stats. The 3rd leading tackler of the game was KJ Kirkland.
Yep.
These guys get a lot of reps. And if you don't know, I do a Pro Football Focus breakdown. I do some snap counts. So I'm curious to see some of these young guys. I think you're going to see a dramatic increase in some of their snaps, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's been prohibition around here because I haven't been able to drink a beer. I promised everyone I would not drink any alcoholic beverage, at least, not during the show until FSU won a game. They won. It was ugly. So let's just say we're not going with one of my favorite craft beers, if you can kind of tell what this is. So pop that open. Cheers to the win.
There we
Number
go.
1.
Cheers.
Hopefully many more to come.
Number one. So at 11:30, and people in the chat remind me at 11:30, blow up the chat and say, Tom, go get you a drink. We're going to take a break at 11:30. That's when I get a cocktail. I'm still battling. I'm going through, physical therapy for vertigo. So I've got to be careful on how much I intake, especially when I'm trying to drive the bus after a victory on the Warchant Gameday Postgame Call-In Show, powered by and built by T-Spark Enterprises. Callie said it best. We got T-Spark a win. I promised you T-Spark. I just didn't know when it was going to come. And it came today. One other young player, Gene, that's worth shouting out on defense is Quindarius Jones. And we haven't mentioned
that one series when he was money.
An excellent series of PBUs. Even when he was in trail, he had active hands. He didn't take a pass interference in those situations. Again, it's young players learning on the fly, but you love the ranginess of 6'2" in those situations. It helps you make up for if you lose a guy for a step or two, because you have such long arms and you're a tall player. You can make plays like Quindarius Jones made. And then also you can break downhill and just make awesome plays. He got away with a little bit of a lasso on the third down to get Florida State off the field, but that's okay, Gene, because those refs missed some calls the other way as well.
Swing it. The guy took in a swing it play. I don't know who it was, but one of their players took in a swing right from the official. I mean, that's automatic. He's surprised that he should have been ejected from the game. There's not even a penalty.
Yeah, that was 10. And so, again, on defense, a lot of bright spots with some young players. Cam Davis had some moments tonight that were impressive, too, on the offensive side. But Gene
was running really well in that first half, too.
Well, by default, he had 17 carries for 80 yards tonight, did Lawrence. Because of the injury that was suffered to Cam early on, it was almost like, and Roydell Williams was not available in this game, it was almost like Mike was forced into having to play one dude. And it looked like the rhythm was being generated there. Florida State ends tonight, Gene, with a paltry 4.2 yards per play. They average 3 yards per carry when you take sacks out of the equation. That's not going to get the job done either. And yet there are signs that Mike is at least growing this season. I'm not telling you it's fixed, because it ain't. But they ran split zone tonight, Gene. They ran straight ahead a little bit more tonight. He fell in love with counter over the middle of the ball game, and I was ready to throw stuff against the wall, because this isn't the personnel to run it with any consistency. But they ran straight ahead a little bit more. They put a hat on a hat, and the offensive line surged a little bit more. It happened a lot early in the game, and then he saw it for some stretches down late. In fact, on the 3 and out towards the end of the football game, Gene, where you just want to ice it by moving the chains and taking Cal's timeouts and getting through the 2-minute timeout. Do it yourself with, your hand on the ball. I thought Lawrence Toafili, there was a straight ahead run on first down. I wish he hit it faster, but Mike is starting to call it a little bit differently on the ground, which is baby steps. I hate that we have to live in the world of baby steps, but I saw an indicator that there's a little bit of growth. But the offense is still a train wreck. I mean, DJ had so many awful moments tonight that I can understand why in the live chat here on Warchant TV, Gene, or on the boards in the live game thread, people are calling for a change in the first quarter, the second quarter, at halftime. They're begging. The second half, they're begging. DJ made enough throws for Florida State to win the football game, but you can also be driven crazy by the fact that there are plays left out there that were not made.
Right, and I think you pointed a lot of stuff is on Norvell too. It's still, they're really, for an offensive mind, he continues to do baffling things. You pointed to some of them, Tom. Again, it was fewer than last week, but he probably went 3 or 4 of those wide receiver screens, did absolutely nothing. He absolutely loves that play. It's never blocked up right. I get in practice. You've seen it in practice. They block it up, but in live games, it's never blocked. Mike, figure it out. We have not even talked about the elephant in the room here, and that is Mike Norvell doing what I hate more than anything else he does. And that's his crazy 4th down logic, which is illogical. There's no logic to it. 4th and 7, where they're in their 38. You got arguably the best kicker in the country to go up 10-3. I mean, it's asinine. Even, the guys, the broadcasters disagree. The analytics said you don't do that. They did it anyway. Of course, they don't pick it up. Cal goes down. It's 7-6 at half instead of 10-3. I mean, just. Do you have a reason for this, Tom? Other than he think he just flips a coin.
No, I did not, because they did it earlier where they decided to punt. I very much agreed with that decision.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was going to go for it at first. They called the timeout. Thank goodness.
And the kick would have been, that's too long. That's 58, 60 yards. I don't know what it would have been precisely.
Yeah.
But you punt in that situation. Your defense got off to a good start, and Mastromano's awesome at that. And you see, this is where they're coached up well. Mastro takes the punt, waits a couple of ticks to see how long the rush is going to take.
That was beautiful getting it down there in the 2.
So the Gunners can get down there and have their, heads turned around and they can go make the play. Like, that's a great decision in that moment. The second time, he's a weapon. At this point, he's earned it. Like, if this was last year, Gene, understood. You don't want to trust Fitzy from 50+. I got you. But last year's results, from the Clemson game when he made a big kick all the way through to where we are now, Ryan Fitzgerald has shown he's got a thunderous leg, and you were wondering and you were hoping against hope, Gene, because, Cal had a kid make a 50-yarder. I know he missed a couple others. He was 2 of 6 coming into this game, so he was still above his season average in terms of makes and misses. But you just wondered, are these points going to come back to haunt you? And another decision that drove me nuts, Gene, is why don't you go for 2? I know we were all killing him for going for 2.
But that 5 points doesn't do you any good.
You're trying to win the game 17-16? Is that what you're going to tell me the logic is? Damn it, dude. Shaheem Brown nearly blocked a kick outright, the second one that Cal missed. He's blocked one to win you a ball game on an extra point against LSU a couple of years ago. Go for 2 in that situation. You're up 6. If Cal scores a touchdown, it's a tie ball game. Like, there's a couple of things that are still left out there. But
again, it's one of those analytics things. Is probably analytics say go for 2.
Yeah,
that's why he can't keep saying analytics, because he's going against analytics, and he always seems to be wrong when he does that.
Yeah,
it's baffling.
There's a lot of baffling stuff, and this is another one of those. I say it often when we do these post-game shows, Gene. Like, whatever direction you as a caller want to take this thing, I'm here for you. If you want to focus on the positive of guys, I hear you. A lot of complaints. Let's save it for tomorrow. We got to win. I'm with you. If you say, guys, we need to talk about DJ. What the hell are we doing? Why are we still rolling him out there? I'm here for that too. So you guide us here on the Warchant Gameday Postgame Call-In Show. We really appreciate all of your support as we do T-Spark Enterprises. I'll do a read for him in a minute. But we got to get to some people. Some people here. Angela, always supporting the program. Improvements on both sides of the ball, but still too close. Felt like I played the game by the end of it. It was a bit of a slog, Gene. Are you tired?
Yeah, I'm getting there. Oh, it's going to be better next week because it's an 8 p.m. kickoff next week, so we'll really be into it. Well, hopefully we hope with the same result, but yeah, I'm fired up. I'm good. They got the win. Let's party.
Joshua Keeman says, a win's a win. Great job defense. Farmer earning money. Edwin Joseph coming out party. Thoughts on possible Atkins impact. Still not sold on DJ. Okay, so I agree with you on the last part, Joshua. Yeah. They schematically did some different things on the ground. Now, that didn't change because Atkins was on the sideline for today's football game. Alex Atkins has been there for every practice, for installation, for game planning. So he was able to do all things until game day itself. Now, he might have helped Gene with some of the adjustments on the fly, maybe some of the communication, the psychology of when his guys came over to the sideline for things they need to be on the lookout for, to calm guys down or kick guys in the ass. But they had a bit of a different game plan. Mike
They blocked a little better, though. I mean, I agree with you. I don't really know how much, if any, factor Atkins being on the sideline for the game played in that, but they did block better. I mean, a couple of those throws, DJ 3 had a nice pocket to throw in. Yep. There were a few holes to run through, especially in the first half. Seems like a lot of those kind of closed down in the second half. There was the Akers had that one drive, and it was a lot of, they were moving some guys up front. So it was a noticeable improvement. It's still nothing even close to what we anticipated they would be. But again, a little bit of progress by the offensive line was good to see.
Should anybody care to go back and watch this game again, you'll see when they go hat on a hat and they run it straight up, not counter, but they go straight ahead.
With Akers late in the end, one drive.
Davis. Yeah.
Cam Akers.
I wish.
I'm sorry.
I
wish we had
Did you grab him in
Akers
fantasy?
still.
Did you grab him in fantasy?
I picked him up in free agency. I'm going to start him in one of my leagues tomorrow.
Yeah, he'll be playing tomorrow for Houston because who's out? Joe Mixon. Anyway,
Mixon's out, and Pierce is out. But yeah,
they go straight ahead, and you see surges consistently with this offensive line against Cal. This is what should happen against an opponent like Cal.
Because you're bigger, stronger than those guys.
Correct. Counter had some success, but I mean, damn, something was working, and we tried to really establish counter to drive my ass nuts. Tony Greco, I know it was AW, but how as an offensive coach can you look at the film and say this is working? Oh, it was a win. All right. I see voice text sometimes with these things.
Yeah.
The OL actually played okay, but still only 14 points and is still a slog with DJU. Even ran it well. They did run it well at times. So some things that I was just talking about. And if you consider the fact that you have an unforgivable interception in the red zone, yeah, you're probably touching closer to 20 points, which in this day and age of college football is pitiful that we're having to piece things together, ifs, ends, and to get to 20 points.
The way you dominated that first half, you had 2-1 in time of possession. If you look at that, you were dominating the heck out of them. They were only 1 for 5 on first downs. You got in the red zone. I mean, that's the thing, to be 7-6 at half. And that's usually you lose games like that when you're not a good team and you're giving up way too many chances and not converting in the red zone. That bites you in the ass, and they were very lucky to get through this. And again, it goes to the defense held its own, and the offense did just enough.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they had 208 yards at halftime.
Yeah, look at the final total.
They finished with 284.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's easy math out there, folks. They did it again. It's just they inverted it. Last week they had 60-some yards in the first half. This week they can't clear 100 yards in the second half. So it's still a problem, a humongous problem, but it's a win. So we have to smile a little bit.
Well, there's 3 fastest to the game, and FSU was pretty good in 2 of them, and that was the difference in the game. I wish they would have leaned a little bit more on the special teams than they did, but still, when the special teams was involved, they did very well.
They did. No Cav. Offense is not good. Play calling and decision making. Yikes. Yep. Kind of felt like Cal lost this game, but F it. Red Solo Cup Xbox headset night. Yes. First one of the year. All right. That kid keeps on getting younger and younger every time that we pull that up. Thank you, No Cav. Very much appreciate that. Mike Machado, I almost out tooting for a loss. Okay, rooting for a loss. But, you know, tooting smells, so I can understand why you might have typed that. For a loss, so Mike would have to be answer for the dumbass fourth. Man, oh, man, Mike, you're all over the place here. Really, man? Yes, Gene, he's with you. I'm just going to summarize what he's saying there. He's with you. Mike, hydrate is the next thing I'd say. Hydrate.
Yeah, Mike,
really
I'm with you on those 4th down calls. We did come up with some kind of drinking game or something when Mike does these bonehead 4th down calls.
Yep. Director Matthew Hutchison, get these guys some beers. Gene has one. I'll be getting a drink 11:30, everybody. 25 minutes. Remind me, 25 minutes from now. Put it in the chat, and we will take a break, and I'll go pour myself a cocktail. Sky Ninja, please explain the play calling. As an insider, what is going on? They tried some different things. Some of those different things worked well. They ran that end-around play that they ran.
I was okay with that.
2022. They ran it a second time, and if you decide to watch the game, Jackson West just runs by the defensive end for whatever reason, I don't know, or else it would have worked twice. They ran split zone. They ran some straight-ahead runs. Those were much better, and then they fell into a rut of calling the same old crap. So there it is, Sky Ninja. I can't give you an insider report because we can't report on what they do in practice, but it was better. It's just, you got to accept the win. No, New York Nole. It's Brock o'clock. I like that. Make that a T-shirt. It's Brock o'clock. Here we go now with our friends at T-Spark Enterprises. The first live read for T-Spark Enterprises after a victory on the season. Prevent leaks before they start. Many large roof issues could have been avoided by fixing small leaks and defects before they worsened. Fix the minor issues to prevent more significant problems and more expensive problems later on down the road. If a tree falls on your roof during a storm and you have structural damage, T-Spark Enterprises is available to help come inspect the roof. The best part is T-Spark is a general contractor. So some roofers can look at something, say it's a problem, but I can't fix it. T-Spark doesn't have that issue. He can fix it all. He can do it head to toe. Have him come check out your home today. You can give him a call, 850-766-1340. That's 850-766-1340, tsparkenterprises.com. Or sorry, tsparkconstruction.com, tsparkconstruction.com. All right, first name John says, this offense is so random and inconsistent. I'm glad we won, but I don't think there will be many more. Go Noles. Gene, your thoughts? You want to take the pessimist place or the pessimist?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. You can't. The offense barely squeaked out 14 points. It had to be. The defense had to do it, but defense will win you games. I do think there's a chance to win some more games because if the defense is showing improvement, we know the sky's the limit. They have a lot of talent. So what we're seeing, as good as they've been the last couple of weeks, I can see them getting even better.
Yep.
You just need the offense to be somewhat close to competent. We keep thinking something's got to give. I have not seen much improvement. It was a little bit more in this game. I think the line blocked a little bit better. it's fair to say the you're talking about the columns. I have a feeling the column on the right is going to be bigger than the column on the left by the end of the season. I mean, unless that offense does something different, if they keep doing the same thing, you're never going to get out of the teens. I don't think you're ever going to get in the 20s. I mean, that's the thing. It's amazing. This team cannot score outside the teens every week.
FSU fan 1993. Also, thank you, New York Noel and Dustin, for your contributions. We wiped through those just a moment ago. ACC champion type quality win. Defense dominated, I think, from last year. I think he's referencing last year's game against Louisville. Offense did just enough not to mess it up. If you hold your opponent to 24, 21, 20, and 9 points, you'd think you'd be 4-0. Prohibition repealed. Cheers. Cheers to you, FSU.
Cheers.
Fan.
Thank you, FSU fan.
All right. Should we collect our breath for a second, Gene, or go straight to the phone lines because they're active and I got some folks?
I think there's one specific tip that we need to bring up that I just saw scroll by. If Ben knows what I'm talking about from our favorite dentist.
Smokerinos.
Z-Chan, my man. That's I'm way too generous. Thank you.
Wow. We won a football game, he says. Z-Chan, send us your crown of the game. Director Ben, be on the lookout for the Z-Chan crown of the game. May I submit Josh Farmer to you? But you choose. Yes. It's your choice.
He should be the official MVP selector each week.
Oh, he just donated a root canal. There you go, Ryan.
I wish root canals were that cheap.
Good call, Gene. Gene always sees the red. There's your color-coded.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. I see that.
Thank you, Z-Chan. We really appreciate it. We now go to the phone lines. We'll take a couple of calls here right out the gates because this show is about you and your reactions, and we look forward to hearing from Nicholas in South Georgia. Nicholas in South Georgia, go ahead.
What's up, my fellas?
We're
finally
winners.
Got a win. I am here for it. Yep. For the first W of 2024, I am here for it. What about y'all? And it's not quite 11:30 there, but hey, I want to see you. I'm watching you on video. I want to see you 11:30. I want you to pop that top now for the first win. But anyways, the offense. I mean, defense lights out. They've been getting better every game, as you can tell. But offense is atrocious. This is D1 football. We are the Florida State Seminoles. We're playing like we're a high school team. I mean, it's crazy how Norvell is just dead set on DJU. And man, it just ain't working, man. The offense is atrocious. Defense playing lights out. We should be 4-0 right now. I mean, defense. I mean, it's just. I mean, I'm speechless right now. I can continue to talk. I don't want to waste your time. Don't want to waste my time because I enjoy watching the show. The offense is just. I mean, it's just atrocious right now. I don't know what to do, what to say, what can help. I mean, we're D Florida State. It's D1 football, and the offense ain't playing like D1. I mean, it's Division I football. So, let me know your thoughts.
Yep.
And I'm here for it. Hey, we got a W, and that's better than an L, number 4 L of the season. So, but anyways, hey, I enjoy the show. Let's rock and roll, and maybe we get another W. Hey, if it's like 9-3 next week, I mean, hey, a W is a W.
That's it.
So, anyways, I'm out.
He's out.
Thank you, Nicholas.
We appreciate it. He's calling for the 9-3 back-to-back wins for next week at SMU. It's possible.
I'll take it. I will take that.
It's possible. You know, the show notes for the call said, "How awful is this offense?" I mean, it is. It's pretty rotten, Gene.
Well, if you want to get good perspective, our lead columnist Corey Clark wrote a column that was up this morning. I think it's still on the front page of the site. If you go to there now, just talking about the ineptitude of the offense and what it's really been going back to the end of last season. It's frankly stunning when you start looking at the rushing numbers, the scoring numbers. And I know, I think we put up a tweet. If you can, I don't know if Tom's trying to.
I'm working on it right now. Yep.
So we put up a graphic, kind of highlighting from Corey's column when he went through this stuff, and it's startling. I don't think you can find any team in the country that's put up this kind of ineptitude on offense, and especially again, it blows my mind with the team with so much experience on that side of the ball. Yeah, there's the tweet that we put on the Warchant account. Have that much experience on the ball and have a head coach that's supposedly. Supposed to be his strength is offensive play calling and scheming up offenses for this kind of stuff to happen. I mean, that's just, it's unbelievable when you don't, I guess that was when you don't have Jordan Travis at quarterback. What happens?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what do you kind of reading Corey's column, seeing what you saw today about the offense, Tom, is there something you can put your finger on other than not having a mobile quarterback, or is that it? Does Mike Norvell in this system have to have a mobile quarterback?
Well, I think if they block the way he thought they were going to block this season, like if his expectations, if they were even close to his expectations and be able to run block, then you'd see production out the yin-yang. And DJ certainly is not mobile. But for those of you that might be listening later on the podcast, or if you're on the phone lines right now and you're not watching, so Florida State with Jordan Travis as either the starting quarterback or the guy who played the most, 29-9, just under 36 points per game, and just under 200 rushing yards per game. Since that point, Florida State is now 3-11. They improved from 2-11 to 3-11. They're averaging 15 points a game, so 20 points fewer without Jordan Travis at quarterback, and then 109 rushing yards per game. Tonight on the ground, Florida State had 107. So they're right on that number.
Right on line. Yep.
So so they're 3-11 after J Trav, after the mobile quarterback, and they're averaging 15 points a game and about 108. Call it 108 rushing yards per game. So, yeah, the thing I would say about this, Gene, is it's pretty simple. They don't block very well. They don't block counter very well. They did some stuff tonight that I was hoping like hell they would do against Memphis with greater consistency, which is just go north-south. That's what they did on the first play of the game. Then they fumbled the second play, and it was like they forgot about that was a possibility. And then Memphis stacked, and that was the end of that game. But there is a sign of a pulse. I thought last week there was no pulse whatsoever. It is faint, Gene, but it's a pulse. It's a pulse. There's something.
Yeah, it's barely there. Can we just bring James Madison's coach over here? I don't know if anybody caught that today, but it was amazing. I thought it was a basketball score, like they played a preseason basketball game. So James Madison, if you're unaware, played North Carolina. Yes, the North Carolina that is supposed to be one of the better ACC teams, and beat them 70-50. They put a 70 burger up on UNC. James Madison. But yet Florida State 14 is a good day at the office for this offense.
All you can say about the 14 today is that it was enough.
It was enough.
It was enough.
That's
somehow.
Right.
Florida man in Alabama says he, until convinced otherwise, I believe a construction worker disturbed a burial ground and were cursed until the construction is complete. And the Seminole tribe of Florida conducts a cleansing fire ceremony with Tom, Gene, and peyote.
Put some weird images in my mind thinking about that.
There you go. The greatest line about peyote in history is somebody asked Phil Jackson, legendary coach.
Oh, yeah.
You ever smoke peyote? He goes, first of all, you don't smoke peyote, which tells you that, Phil he was all about it. We now go to Scoop. I got it right. Third try. Third time was a charm. Scoop in Tallahassee's been waiting patiently. Go ahead, sir.
Gino,
Scoop.
Tom, Third and Lang, my guys. How y'all doing tonight?
We're winners, baby.
Much
We're winners.
better.
Tell you what, I have lost my mind. I'm on my 14th beer. I ran out of Corona Premier, had to switch over to Dos Equis, but let's go ahead and get down to it. So, DJ Youth, I know we're averaging 15 points a game, and we played Tech, BC, Memphis, and California. It's not like we're playing the 85 Bears, right? So here's the thing. I just can't see how you just don't make a quarterback change. So that's the first point I want you guys to talk about. And you kind of talked about it a little bit, and then for all the good we did rushing the passer, for whatever reason, something that never really gets talked about is our defensive ends. We lose containment all the time. The ball gets bounced outside on us just continuously, and we just can't seem to stop it. And it's so frustrating to watch. But, I just want to listen to your comments off the air, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, Scoop.
Thanks, Scoop.
I will keep you in the queue as I did last week, because I know sometimes you're not watching and you're listening on the phone. So hang in there, Scoop, as we talk about it. Gene, I'm begging for a quarterback change. I actually thought this week DJ played worse than last week. I know that sounds crazy because he made more third down throws, but just the decision making, the flustered look, the body language about the throws, like the things that he's supposed to be good at. I think third down stuff bailed him out from a performance that could have gotten him replaced tonight. And I would have replaced him before that, at least given Brock a chance to see how, if there was a spark that was ignited. But we'll see what Dominic Robinson has to say when he breaks it down. Yeah. I just thought there were more atrocious decisions and plays and flustered moments from DJ tonight than there had been before. It's just that he ended up, when he needed to, in third and obvious, making enough plays for Florida State to win the football game.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. He did. He did definitely make some plays when he needed to, and that won the game ultimately for FSU. He did just enough for him to do that. But I think that's fair too. And I thought of a couple plays because, unfortunately, I don't know what happens. He seems like he's a lot slower than I remember in his Clemson days. He's very slow-footed, and for whatever reason, a couple times he had an opportunity, and he just isn't. He just isn't quick enough. He's not fast enough. I thought a couple times, what if Brock's there? You know, he has the ability to take off, get 20 yards on that play. Instead, he takes a 2-yard loss or whatever in those kind of plays. So I think that's fair. And I do think we've all been kind of calling for that. At this point, Mike Norvell can lean on the win. He has gone this far and not made a change. I don't think he's going to do it at this point. For whatever reason, come hell or high water, he is stuck on DJ. And I think most people disagree with him at this point. He also brought about the loose containment, which is something I've seen a lot with these two defensive ends. And I get very annoyed at number 7. Who does that a lot. I mean, maybe that's something you and Dominic can look at a little bit. Several times I've noticed that in key times when he'll do that, get to the outside. He loves doing that little spin move to move back to the inside and leaves that whole side of the field open. He does that quite often. It drives me bananas.
Yeah, and it's a team effort there, because I would tell you that the linebackers are also not getting outside as much as they should be, and they're guessing. Like, so they take turns, Gene, unfortunately. Different guys on different drives, and you go, where are you going? That cannot be your responsibility. That gap cannot be what you're asked to do. And you're just driven nuts by, and it's basically all of them at different points of the game. You're going, where are you going? I don't understand. And Dominic did a great job of breaking that down over the last couple of weeks, and he did it specifically with split zone stuff. The thing that I thought they did better tonight, though, was communicate through the motions and handle a lot of the wheel stuff and the rail stuff. There were a couple of breakdowns, but they were so much better at it this time around. Edwin Joseph specifically as a slot corner did quite well there too. There was one play they were looking for a shot to the end zone for an uncontested throw, and there was Edwin Joseph right there running stride for stride with the guide in motion. Things like that you saw that were better. But yeah, the contained stuff drives you nuts. There was even one of the third and obvious plays, or third and long plays, where Mendoza runs for a first down. Unfortunately, you have an interior defensive lineman leave his gap. I think it was Daniel Lyon's situation. If it wasn't, sorry, Daniel. But you have an interior defensive lineman leave his lane. Everything is done the way it should be, and out he goes, out the back. There was another one, his scramble in the fourth quarter. Blake Nicholson is there as a spy. So you have a spy in there, and he gets caught up. Somehow he gets too deep, too close to the line of scrimmage that he lets an offensive lineman wall him off for the scramble. So it's a team effort, Scoop. I hate to tell you. A lot of guys making a lot of mistakes in that regard. But even still, the defense was the reason they won the football game today.
And I will say the one thing, and I know we talk about all the schematics and all the guys' communication, all getting out of gaps and everything, but I will say the thing about the defense that I think stood out to me the most is simply there's more want to in this one. They went out there. They really wanted this. They played much more physical. They got after it. They made plays. Not all the time when they had to, but they did a lot of times. Yeah. And as evidenced by the 12 TFLs and 7 sacks, which is something we definitely didn't see any of to the first 2+ games. So, I mean, that to me, that was a huge thing, that they're playing with a lot more emotion, a lot more ferocity.
Yeah, they won that part of the line of scrimmage, and I think, Gene, if they went straight ahead more in the running game, they would have won both lines of scrimmage, that's what drives you a little bit nuts. Rubbish, thank you for the contribution there. New York Noles says, imagine what it's like to lose to Cal. I can't. Fair enough. Me either. I think they were members of the Pac-12 or the Pac whatever since 1915, so weird times.
Yeah, maybe they'll be back there. Who knows?
They could very well. We now go to
I don't want any more of this.
That's right. Here's one of our favorite callers on the Warchant Postgame call-in show. For the 30th time in the history of the program, we have Gene in Ocala. It is great to hear from Gene in Ocala. First time this season, in fact, we've heard from him. Go ahead, Gene. How's it going?
What's going on there, T. Lizzie and Gino? How y'all doing?
We're happy to be talking to you, Gene.
I've been trying for the last couple of weeks, but it's probably been a good thing that I haven't been able to get through. Just listening to you guys, first of all, Tom, I hope you feel better, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
This is just, it's starting to be more, you start thinking back of whenever the last coaches that you had would never seem like they would turn a blind eye to some of the glaring problems that we have. And the quarterback is not, he's not reading, he's not understanding downs.
he's not doing the simplistic things that you would think that somebody with that much time of seeing defenses has. And it's almost like there's something going on with coach making these decisions. You know, we've said often, I mean, even the pregame, Sam Macho, he had his player of the game was Fitz to look out for.
Yeah.
Why are you not giving a Lou Rosa now watch award winner? Why don't you give him opportunity to get on the field? Coach, you've made the mistake. You don't have to keep showing us that you made the mistake of getting DJU and trying to prove a point. You're trying to prove a point. We're going to end up 2-10. Yeah. It has to be something going on with that. And just like what you said, I'll go back to things that you said that you said on previous shows and other things, because I listen to everything Warchant. Gene, thank you so much for all these outlets that you have for some of us that's just wanting to just grasp at everything Florida State. Is that counter, since Dylan Givens has been gone, everybody that runs defense has seen what to do and how to shut it down. And now you have slow offensive linemen that can't pull, so that is over with. Like you said, Tom, running straight forward, doing the things you need to do. Thank you all for everything. It just mind boggles me that coach will not get out of his stubbornness ways and understand you got to do something with this guy, either make something more simplistic, which he did in the beginning of running that kind of hurry up. They were snapping the ball with 20 seconds left. I think that green dot has really just messed him up. But snapping the ball early. But if you can't do that, please let us see Brock or somebody, because you're going to, standing on your morals is going to make us have a worse season than what it is. Thank you all for taking the call. Y'all are the best. Thank you.
You're the best,
Gene. Great call.
One of the great callers here, and he agrees with Garrett. Can we take away Mike fourth down play calling? He's had way more bad decisions than good.
Please. Hire, you're allowed to hire basically unlimited staff now. Have somebody who's just sits in the booth. All he does, he makes all the 2-point and fourth down calls, Mike. I will take the job. I'm offering right now. I'll do it.
Agreed. Gene, because
I don't know much about football, but I know I can do a better job.
But the thing I would say is we know what we're going to get from you in that situation. Good and bad. It's going to be consistent. With Mike, it's like depends on the day. Kind of depends.
But Gene said, "I'm going to rely on Fitzy. Let's go with their strength, or I'm going to rely on Mastromano to pin their ass down." Which still that was so beautiful, that special teams. They knocked him inside the 2-yard line, got all the penalties, had him pinned down on third down. To me, that was the game right there. The field was going to flip, and I thought that was it, and they picked that up. It drove me nuts that they gave up that play, but it emphasized how good the special teams are and how good those kickers, man. Anytime you can lean on those guys, you have to do it.
Nico Sharp.
And to Gene's point on this, what do you think it is with Mike and DJ? He mentioned it could be morals, it could be because he wants to prove he was right in getting him in the transfer portal. What is the stubborn? I mean, I think that's a very good point by Gene. What's going on there with that? Why is he sticking to DJ through to thin and thin?
Thin and thinner? Yeah. That's something Gene Ocala, Gene Williams, that's come up all weekend long here. If you're a Corner Pocket Bar and Grill last night for the meet and greet, it was great to see you. Saw a lot of Noles out there. Today at Hotel Indigo. Good crowd out there for Parents Weekend on the 7th floor of Hotel Indigo. It's the number one question. Everybody wants to know the why. And there's no good answer. I unfortunately, I'd love to tell you that, well, it's because X, Y, and Z. There's really no good answer, Gene, because, in our content this week on warchant.com, we've got Coach George Henshaw, and a feature that you can expect early in the week, every week as a subscriber of warchant.com. Longtime college and NFL coach. So somebody who's been in there, he's been in those meetings, he's watched that film, and he's had to make these calls, make these decisions. He's calling for a quarterback change. Dominic Robinson, who does the film breakdowns for us on Warchant TV, and sometimes he'll appear on the site as well, but you know it from Warchant TV. He's been in DJ's corner saying he's making a lot more plays than we give him credit for, but even Dominic has said, I would make a change as well. So, you have consensus from the fans to former head coaches to former players who are now coaching and scouting. Everybody's saying it's time for a change. So,
and to add to that, let's say I've heard through the grapevine another former FSU coach, I won't name, but you can probably figure out, also said he would have made a change in that situation. So like you said, it's consensus. It's not just a couple media people or fans jumping up and down like they tend to do. The backup's always better. This is a different situation. Objectively, people looking at this say a change should have already been made, and for whatever reason it's not happened. Everybody's scratching their head trying to figure it out.
Robbie Peppers, my voice is gone, but we got us a win. I still want Brock. Yep, understood.
Yeah,
Thank you,
with
Robbie.
you.
Nico, got to say it, Norvell tried hard to stay winless, but the defense overcame him. Thank you, Nico. Regis, Norvell almost gave it away with a 4th down call. Gene, everybody's in your corner tonight on 4th because it's just true. It was just the right decision to try and kick. But the defense is still building from last week. That's a good sign.
Yes.
That's true. You've seen a through line of improvement from the defense. They were awful against Georgia Tech. Even though Georgia Tech only scored 24 points, I thought they were awful that night. The D-line was better against Boston College. They were a little bit better in coverage against Memphis, and the D-line was good against Boston College, I thought. Tonight, the coverage was beat a little too often for my liking, but they're the reason you won. 12 tackles
But there's
for loss,
penetration and pressure, which you didn't have at all through the first 3 games.
They affected the game. We got to get off the field when we have a chance to get off the field. If they're on their own 1-inch line, let's not have a zone bust in that situation. Maybe don't call zone in that situation. Like get off the field when you can. But baby steps, and they only give up 9 points. So you got to smile about that. We go out to last call before the break. Nate in Texas. Go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I don't want to turn this into the pile-on DJU show, and you guys brought up a few of the points I wanted to bring up. But I know you guys watch practice. It just doesn't seem like DJ's skill set is conducive to what Mike's wanting to run. I don't know if that's because of the issues on the offensive line or what. But the only thing I can think of is I think you remember a couple years back when Ryan Fitzgerald was just like the worst kicker in FBS and Mike kept running him out there. I don't know, maybe Mike is just, it's admirable. He's loyal to a fault, but I think coaching at, this level of D1, being that loyal to a single player can cost you your job. But, and I know, Gene, you probably saw that Navy Memphis score today. What Navy dropped almost 60 on Memphis today?
Yeah,
that is not a good Navy defense, or not a good Memphis defense. But shout out to our defense. Holding any FBS opponent to under 10 points, that's in today's day and age, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I wanted to say. But thank you guys for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate
Thank you,
Nate. Nate, excuse me, Nate. This is something, Gene, that, again, in practice, the ones I saw, I saw a lot, quite a few in camp. The midweek practices, I don't think you learn as much because there's a lot of scout team stuff that goes on outside of things that we can't repeat because it's like, install plays, things like that. DJ was far and away the best quarterback in camp, far and away. Brock never brought it to a place we go, well, DJ needs to be careful. It never got there. So I think that's why the season started the way it did. But what's funny is you've got, again, a former coach in George Henshaw who's saying, I don't care what practice looks like. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of this guy. Sometimes, Gene, there are guys who kick ass in the driving range. They can't take it to the course.
I've seen that for years. That's a great point. I've seen that so many times in practice and guys just tearing up. And I hate to throw anybody in particular under the bus, so I hope he's not listening. But I don't know if you remember Richard Goodman was one of those guys that was unbelievable in practice. He would blow up every practice and just would disappear in games. And it always blew over my mind. And people say, you kept bragging about this guy in practice. Why ain't he doing it? Some guys, it just doesn't translate. So, that's one reason, I guess, Mike Norvell, he keeps seeing this in practice. He is the best quarterback in practice. He's the most consistent. All these breakdowns, a lot of stuff that happens in games, it just doesn't happen in practice. But obviously the games are what matter. At some point you've got enough of a sample size to go, okay, he's not going to perform well in games. I have to make a change. And Nate's other point I think was interesting, and I wrote about this a while ago in my 5 takes, is he's not a good fit for what Mike Norvell is doing. A lot of times you see that kind of zone read play. They don't respect him.
Mm-hmm.
He did that 2 or 3 times. The whole side of the field is there. They're all crashing down on the running back because they know, I'm sorry, but if Brock is in there, they can't get away with that because if they do, Brock's going to run for 50 yards. Yeah.
No, agreed. And there are a couple of short yardage, move the chains kind of moments where, DJ's a yard short and you're getting +5 there in that situation.
Oh, it drove me nuts. He always seems to fall a yard short whenever he actually has positive scramble yards. It looks like he might do it every time he's a yard short of the sticks.
I feel like DJ is not 100%, but that it should only underscore the reason you would move on in that situation too. Like you don't have to ride or die with this guy. You do have other options. And one of them, Gene, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago when they lost to Boston College. I was certain that they were going to run the Wildcat because when Mike has been up against it, they have always run the Wildcat, from Jayshon Corbin to Lawrence Toafili. And now in Cam Davis, you have a guy who played high school quarterback.
Yes, in high school. So you've got all the people there to do it. Like, what are you?
Son of a, like
crazy.
I cannot believe we have not seen that. So even if you didn't want to make a quarterback change, this is the way you could add mobility to the position of the guy who gets to snap the ball. I mean, even Bowden used to do that with direct snap.
Peter Warwick all the time would get in
right.
do those kind of things. Yeah, and the direct snaps to Warwick done, and you give the defense something else to think about. I mean, mix it up a little bit. Like you said, it seems like he does wide receiver screens, and the counter is 90% of the offense sometimes, and it just drives you nuts. There's no creativity.
Yeah, agreed. All right, it's that time. We've gotten to the other side of 11:30. Thank you for folks for reminding us. We are going to take a quick break, a word from our sponsor, T-Spark Enterprises, and we will be back here for another round of calls on the Warchant Gameday Postgame Call-In Show, built by T-Spark Enterprises, 11:37 p.m. So go run to your fridges, run to the bathroom. We'll be all right back here in just a moment on Warchant TV.
Greatness is built through passion, perseverance, and an unyielding commitment to one's trade. It starts with dedication and the relentless pursuit of perfection. The early mornings, the late evenings, the sacrifices made, all for that one moment of knocking it out of the park. On every job we do, T-Spark, we conquer all peaks.
All righty. If Gene Williams is amenable, we may come back just a minute early. Why the hell not? We'll do a couple of scores while we're queuing up the next phone caller here on the Warchant Gameday Postgame Call-In Show. Built by T-Spark Enterprises. Gene, did you see Mizzou escaped again in overtime? They beat Vandy 30-27
in overtime. Yep.
Tennessee beats Oklahoma tonight, 25-15 in Norman. I believe Tennessee was around a 6-point favorite in that game. Texas and Arch Manning destroy UL Monroe. Miami looked kind of funny for a half, but Miami pulls away from USF. They win 50-15 tonight. Michigan with a late drive in the Big House. A huge run in the last couple of minutes of that game. A couple of broken tackles. Marched down the field to beat USC at home. USC was about a 4 or 5 point favorite, but Michigan wins 27-24. And Utah, in one of the ranked matchups of the day as well, beats Oklahoma State 22-19. We did know, Gene, and we did see, obviously, that Memphis got scored on. I think Nate brought that up a bunch today. Not great. Looked like there were some opportunities for Florida State last week that were not taken advantage of. Another common opponent for Florida State, Georgia Tech, was beaten by Louisville 31-19 today as well. So Georgia Tech now falls to 3-2 on the season and 1-2 in the conference. We know who the win is over.
That's right. Now, I'm wondering who broke the rock. I don't know. I have not seen that yet. Maybe somebody in the chat can let us know. I would hope it's Farmer. I mean, I think that's our pick, but I'd be very curious who got the nod there.
He could break it with his hands. He looked strong tonight, did Joshua Farmer. Yeah, I wonder if they'll bring back the cinematic recap. I don't really like the energy of not running those when you lose, so I wonder if they're going to bring it back when they win. I know there's not much you can do. Run it for 3 or 4 minutes, but you got to do it, man. You got to be consistent. We'll see if they bring that back this week, and the Rock video we'll be on the lookout for. We now go next to Nebraska. We've talked to him just last week. Dave in Nebraska. Dave, go ahead. I'm going to pour me my mixed drink as you tell us what you're thinking about, what you want to talk about tonight.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me again. As you can tell, I'm maybe had a few mixed drinks myself, but I'm a long-time Florida State fan. I'll get on with my process. Anyway, so everybody wants to hit on DJ and how bad he sucks. So I would like to know, as a staff, you ask Norvell questions every week. If you could have a guy why can't we just have him drop back and take a pass and hit the reach? If you take the stats of him actually hitting the reads and not play action pass, just stop play action pass and let him hit the reads. He is much more better of just taking the snap and hitting the reads and seeing it and hitting it, besides just play action pass. Why do we have to play action pass all the time? Secondly, I know I was not supposed to talk about the defense, but why do we have to play man-on-man defense all the time? I appreciate the call, but secondly, again, just let DJ see it, hit it, period.
All right, Dave. Well, we appreciate it. Unfortunately, they did run zone a couple of times tonight, including the coverage buck, third and forever out of Calzone end zone. That was a zone. They can't. I wish the answer was better, Dave, than they can't run zone with consistency. Now they did run it a couple of times with sticks coverage and things like that, and they rallied to the ball, made some plays. So I don't want to say that they never are capable of it. It's also like saying Gene tonight about counter in the running game. They did successfully execute counter a few times, but they just don't with any degree of consistency like they used to a couple of years ago. It's almost like you're chasing ghosts from the past.
Cal caught on to it. It worked pretty well early in the game, and then that's why you notice those stats in the second half went to nothing, because that play simply was generating zero offense in the second half.
Well, it worked in the first half because it was a counterpunch. Like literally, it's like the name would suggest, because you were establishing something else, and then counter, you were running off of it, and it was working. But then they used counter to start so many first down series. You're like, geez, Alou. So yes, they run a ton of man because they're not very good at zone. And the DJ stuff, there are still some
It did seem like a lot that I think Dave made a good point. It does seem like when he's just back there in those third downs, he sees it better. I think it goes back to him just kind of being slow. I think play action kind of slows it down a little bit for him. It's harder for him to adjust and do that. And I'm glad you remind me that I think when I go into PFF, when they break down the passing, it'll tell me the numbers out of play action. I'm not sure, but I think it will. And when I go to the breakdown in the morning, I'm going to look at that to see the differences between the play action and not. And you're probably correct. I think he probably did better throwing without the play action. So that's interesting. You hope the coaches see that and make adjustments if that's the case.
So Florida State did just land on the recruiting trail a running back in the form of Byron Lewis. Byron Lewis is now committed to FSU. He was a heavy favorite in the on-3 RPM to commit to Florida State before this decision was made. Good job by everybody involved. This is a 5'10.5", 205-pound running back out of American heritage. I'm pulling up his profile right now for everybody to see. Here we go. Disable the audio. So Florida State on the recruiting trail getting a yes. They might get another one this weekend. We'll see. Oh, somebody's calling the show here, Jim. That's wonderful. Let me reject that.
All this time years doing the show, Tom, I don't think I've ever heard that. That's something new.
Somebody knows the secret number, not the one that we put on the screen. So
they got the bat phone number.
So for full coverage on this, head over to warchant.com right now. There will be a reaction story on the premium recruiting board. There'll also be some context as to how and why Byron Lewis said yes to Florida State. I'm sure that Florida State might have sweetened the pot a little bit too to try and get this thing done. That's what happens when you lose football games is you have to incentivize yeses, but this is good. This is somebody that Miami was on in Byron Lewis, 5'10", 205 pounds out of American heritage. We know that Patrick Surtain has a connection down there. So good job by Florida State. All of that news is available, obviously, at warchant.com. All right, let's see. Next up, I know we were talking about something, but we'll move on to the next caller, to Jose. Jose in Jacksonville has been waiting patiently, and we appreciate you waiting, Jose. Go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Tom, Gene? Love you guys. Just want to say great win for the Noles, obviously, and love the defense, but obviously the offense leaves a lot to be desired for. So your thoughts on them sticking with DJ? DJ just looking slow first drive, unable to just produce, right? I saw the tweet earlier from Corey regarding what we did with Jordan and inability to do something without a mobile quarterback. What can we do going forward? And once again, just love you guys. Warchant. Go Noles.
We appreciate it. Thank you,
Jose.
Yeah. So as we were talking about before, the recruiting news, there are numbers with either in play action situations, RPO situations that you can break down. Gene will take a look at that in PFF. The problem I think offensively, Gene, and one of the frustrating parts about watching this offense in motion, in play, and I'm not talking about pre-snap motion. I'm just saying watching play for play, these sequencings. When you don't consistently take shots down the field, anytime that you're going to try and run a screen, there's a really good chance it's blown up. Or if it's out of a run fake, there's a chance it's blown up because the defense doesn't have to respect anything over the top. Mm-hmm. So you're setting yourself up for failure because you're very predictable. Now, Florida State did finally take a deep shot tonight to Malik Benson, and it's a touchdown if the throw's on the money. But unfortunately, DJU missed in that situation. I think one thing that could help them is perhaps throwing the ball earlier, more frequently, early in games in order to soften things up and make it easier to either run the football or use RPOs or use play action to help the process of balance. But it just feels like we're awfully predictable, Gene. That would be my answer to that.
That's a great, during the game I was sitting with a couple buddies and I brought the point up, like, when is FSU, how many times have they legitimately passed on first down? And I'm not talking about a wide receiver screen, which is an extension of the run, basically. When have they how many times do you think this season they've legitimately thrown a pass past the line of scrimmage on first down? I mean, I probably count them on one hand. I mean, it's been so infrequently. It's the same thing. And obviously, teams are smart enough. Coordinators look at film. They know these tendencies when you do that. And I think you're right. I think it would give him a better opportunity to find better, softer coverage and get guys open and mix. Again, it goes back to being a little bit more creative on offense and mixing things up and not being so predictable.
Well, and to our previous caller's point too about, DJ doesn't see it or he doesn't seem to run it as well. I mean, here's an example. I took this screenshot during the game. It drives me nuts. I said, throw the ball. And then after he did, I went, throw the ball. Come on, man. This is a first down play after he hits Ja'Kai Douglas, the third down throw that almost felt like Ermon Lane against Louisville. You're like, how the hell did we complete that? You get up to the line. This is an RPO. It's a triple option. So it's either give to the running back, run as the quarterback, or fire it out to the bubble. So after this point, when the defensive end right there, 44, is going to take on the running back, DJ has two shuffle steps. So there's nobody riding on, there's nobody coming right at him. He's got an opportunity to fire it out to the receiver. It's a bubble screen. I know we hate those. In this situation, you'd love it because you've got 2-on-2 blocking. There is space for days. Instead, he keeps the ball, shuffle steps around, and we take a loss of 2 or a loss of 3 in that situation. The frustrating part about this, Gene, this is why I bring it up, because the callers are talking about it. He doesn't see the world offensively the way that we're calling the plays. It's like, Jameis saw what Jimbo wanted him to see. That's why that marriage worked very, very well. There are times where DJ, it appears, just doesn't see the world the way that Mike wants him to see it in terms of making the decisions in the heat of the moment.
And we see that, but Mike doesn't see that he doesn't see his world for whatever reason. And it goes back to this whole thing. Throw everything else out the window. Let's face it. For 1-3, the season's effectively over For all intents and purposes, it's over. Why not give Brock a chance? Give him real game reps to see what he might have for next year.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, if you give him, he starts several games, he's not doing well, you go, you know what, we learned something.
Yep.
Instead you're going to go into this, if you keep rolling out DJ and scoring 12, 13, 14 points a game, you're not only going to win only 3 games, you're going to hurt recruiting and transfer portal and everything else. You're going to be in the same, these two quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, you're not going to know where you're at with them. You're going to go into practice that maybe they look good, maybe they don't. But if anything we learned from this season is what you see in practice may not translate to games, but what you see in games translates to games. So let them play, these young guys, these young quarterbacks, give them a shot and see what they can do. It can't be, if it's worse, so what? Well, I just don't get the downside. I think even if it's worse, you learn something. It helps you get down the road.
That's the whole. Yes, this is still coming. No matter what happens, moving forward, you still have to. You have to answer these questions about what do I have for 2025. Like I think all of us wanted to see that process get sped up, so you have more data about what you do and do not have for next year. But Mike's gamble barely paid off tonight. Let's go to Marcus in Tallahassee. He's been waiting again very patiently. We talked to him just last year. Marcus, welcome back to the program, and go ahead.
Hey Tom, hey Gene. First off, Tom, congrats on your Mets winning, keeping the fight alive. No, I wanted to talk about. I agree with everything that you guys said about the 4th down calling. But maybe it's me as an Eagles fan because we just got burned on this on Monday night. But I don't understand why Mike Norvell or whomever was responsible for it decided to throw the ball going in there. They should have ran the ball and kept the clock going. I understand that Cal had a timeout, but even then, if you run that and you even just get a couple yards, or you might have a 4-yard gain or whatever, then you can decide to go for it on 4th if you want. But even then, you force them to use the timeout and not get keep the clock moving, and the clock stops, and then everything goes wrong. We just watched it, so maybe I'm a little bit sour because of what happened on Monday, but I don't understand that call. And in terms of the 4th down, which everybody keeps talking about, I understand that being aggressive on 4th down, but when you have the lead, I don't understand why you do not kick the field goal. Maybe I'm just too reserved as a play caller from the couch, but 4th down conversions do not directly lead to winning games. What does directly lead to winning games is points on the board. So if you already have the lead, I don't understand why you just don't kick the field goal and just pad the lead even more. I really don't understand it. And in terms of that also, if we watch the Georgia Tech game, we have 7, maybe 8 possessions. DJ's only scoring, with our offense 12 to 14 points a game maybe. Yep. If we kick a field goal even on 5 of those possessions, that's 15 points. We're already doing far better than we were. And I don't understand it. I'm tired of watching coaches all across both leagues just have the guts to go for it. If it's 4th and 1 and you're on your own side, okay, cool. If you're down by 21 points in the 3rd quarter, you got nothing to lose, sure. When you have the lead, take the points. And I love you guys so much. Sorry I'm a little full of vinegar today. I'm trying to enjoy the win, but I'm just still angry about it. I appreciate you guys, and I'll listen off the air. Thank you.
It's a human thing.
I love Marcus. Marcus is getting me fired up. Marcus knows how to push my buttons on the 4th down stuff and the clock management. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point he mentioned on the clock management and stuff too. It's, again, some of the higher level coaching things that a coach has been coaching long enough, like Mike Norvell, ought to get these little nuances and things like this. And you're just you're giving opportunities to the other team. You're giving up points. And look, the whole analytics, I'm not a big fan of that anyway. But here's a couple things Marcus brought up that's really important. When you're making these decisions, whether it's NFL or whatever, college, it's not just the analytics. You got to look at a couple things, I guess. First of all, how fragile is your team? Like you said, do you have the lead? How fragile is your team? Mm-hmm. If you're going to go for a 4th and 7, how good is your offense?
Right.
I think everyone here will admit this is being nicely a below average offense, and that's putting it very nicely.
Wow.
Let's say that. And then the other factor, Tom, is how good is your kicker?
Yeah.
These analytics don't know those things when they're running that. Well, let's see. You got a really good kicker, maybe the best kicker in the country. You got maybe the worst offense in the country. This team is incredibly fragile, and as Marcus pointed out, you got the lead. But now let's still go for it. It's mind-boggling. Sorry.
No, if it's Fitzy from 2 years ago, you go for it or you punt.
We saw that NC State game a lot because of that, because he wouldn't let him kick, and he probably rightfully so.
But Fitzy this year, it's either you kick or you go for it. And to your point, it's 4th and 7. It ain't 4th and 2. And it's not Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman and Trey Benson and Johnny Wilson and a healthy Jaheim Bell. It's this group that has a hard time scoring 20 points a week. It's the same thing as the 2-point conversion. Well, first of all, the decision to do it in the first place was nuts to me because the personnel you have last week in that situation against Memphis, you can't run the ball, so you're not going to try to. The quarterback is not fast enough to run the ball, so you can't do that. So they know it has to be a throw in that situation. And are you trusting DJ to fit a pass into a tight window because they're going to drop, they're going to play coverage? Like, why? It's unnecessary. I agree. This is an open and shut case. There are times where the analytics thing is worth debating. This is not one of those. It was a wild choice. Corey in Jacksonville. Corey in Jacksonville is next up on the call-in show. Welcome, Corey.
Hey guys, I appreciate y'all taking my call. I just want to say I'm grateful for the win. Finally, since draft night, we finally get some great news. I certainly thought that it was a little disappointing that we won both lines of scrimmage and we only managed to put up 14 points. But I'm grateful for the win. And, I certainly thought that DJ played, and maybe I'm in the minority, I thought DJ played okay. Certainly played okay enough to not get benched. I thought the worst player on the field was, unfortunately, Mike Norvell with his play calling at times. My question, guys, is if we had a player like Travis Hunter, a first-round lock that could play both sides of the field, would Florida State be 4-0 with a playmaker on that side of the field that could just make, plays, just jump balls and, plays that would just, the DJ is just, he's the type of guy that throws it up, good with the long ball. So if we had a Travis Hunter, would Florida State be 4-0 right now? That's my question.
I would say they would be better than 1-3, but Travis Hunter can't block. So,
And you mentioned the play calling. He's not going to, the play calling's been bad. The decision making's been bad. There's been so many errors across the board. I don't think one playmaker, if you're going to pin me down and say I had to say, I'd say maybe they're 2-2. Maybe he makes a play here or there that's a difference in one of those 3 losses. Maybe you're 2-2, because this team does need playmakers. There's no doubt there is a lack of them compared to the last couple of years for Florida State. But there's a lot bigger problems than adding one playmaker is not going to suddenly make this an undefeated top 10 team.
You'd be better. There's no doubt. And we appreciate the call, Corey. Like, you'd be better. But I don't trust DJ to consistently hit him. And I don't trust, again, he's not a guard. He's not, he's not a left tackle for you. That's the hard part here is this whole machine works so much better in Florida State is 4-0 if the offensive line was anything close to what Mike Norvell expected the offensive line to be and what he said that they were going to be, which is the best he's had. If they were anything close to that, Florida State would be 4-0. And DJ would look uneven, but he wouldn't be in the crosshairs.
Right.
That because you'd be running. They ran for 3 yards a carry tonight, sack adjusted. Again, awful. Just awful at running the football. It's
but it
wild.
was their best game running by far.
It was. Yeah. Good Lord. We go to Durham, North Carolina to talk to Jason. Jason in Durham, North Carolina. Go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call, Tom and Gene. Yeah, so I've got like 2 questions and 1 comment. So at the first half, I just want to see what your thoughts are on that. We decided not to go for field goal. I thought that we gave away 3 points, and then they ended up getting 3 points. So there are 6 points right there. And my second question is, I just don't think that DJ really runs that hard like a Chris Ricks or somebody from back in the day. I mean, there's been a couple of times where he's like a yard short, but he kind of like half-asses his run. I mean, like, he doesn't really seem like he's like in it to win it. I don't know. Say what you want. And my third one is a comment is at the end of the game, you probably didn't see it, but like right when the game was over, they went to a volleyball game for Stanford. So let me know what you think about that, and I'll take my call flying.
I'm surprised I'm surprised the game wasn't on ACC Network because they might have cut into the action in the fourth quarter. They might have cut over to volleyball.
Well, that would have been lacrosse instead of volleyball.
That's correct. Well, we talked about the field goal thing. The other part of it that we hadn't touched on, though, Gene, was that it is a 6-point swing because, of course, you have a 15-yard penalty on the other side of it, and the kid hits it, and actually they get pretty close. They get pretty far down there. There's a simple play to the outside to the right that they end up making it a chip shot field goal. So the last minute to 2 minutes of the first half was so egregiously managed that not only did you not score yourself, but you prevent, Cal scores. So it is a
I brought that up in the beginning that you flip 3 points both sides. That was 6 points. Again, for anybody who knows football knows how important the end of the half is, especially when they were getting the ball back to start the second half. So that 6-point swing was absolutely huge. Which is why I thought after that they were going to lose the game. I really did. I didn't believe the defense would be able to hold up for 4 quarters, and I didn't know if the offense was going to score again, honestly, or more than a field goal. But they did get it. They did get another touchdown in the second half, and the defense. It was a lot of bend, but they didn't break, and they made enough big plays with sacks and tackles for loss to hold them down.
Well, a 6-point swing and 23 total points, that's a big deal, but
it's huge. What about his point I think is interesting about I don't think DJ is loafing out there or not trying hard. I think he's just slow.
Yeah.
And I think you're mistaking that for the lack of effort. I just think we're so used to seeing the other end of the spectrum in Jordan Travis, and this is the opposite. This is a slow, plodding quarterback.
I think also he's got a hitch in his giddy up. I know we can't talk about that. I never saw anything happen with my own eyes, but what I can tell you is I saw the way he ran at Oregon State, and in terms of toughness, he would run dudes over, and he doesn't have the forward momentum to do that. I think there's a hitch in his giddy up, and again, that's just all the more reason to probably consider making a damn move. If you're in the queue right now, you are good to go. You are safe. So I'm talking to Jordan, Josh, Scott, Z-Chan, my man, and Swiss. You guys are all good to go. So hang in there. We're going to get to you in just a minute. No more calls, though, for the rest of tonight. So they made the cut. We got some people to thank. BF Noles. Farmer played like he was he wanted more than just an NIL deal out of the sport. Good for him. Yeah, he wants more than an NIL deal.
He wants a nice Sunday check as well, and I think that's coming for him.
It will. I'm telling you, he wasn't dominant the first few games, but he was good. So you stack the good with this, he's on his way. Johnny, Zeno, bring Gardner. It's been a minute. Is Stickum still a thing? If so, need to buy Morlock, a year's supply.
We didn't talk about that play. That was a killer right there. I mean, and after he had that 3-drop game a couple weeks ago, and he bounced back and played better, that was a big drop at a key moment, Tom.
That play was frustrating for a couple.
And how far was that going? Because he hit him in. That was one of DJ's best. So he hit him right in stride, and he was moving.
He did. I think that probably was 20 through the air, and maybe another 15 or 20 before he comes down. And the killer too is DJ also took his sweet ass time to get rid of the ball. There was a backside rusher on that play, like get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball.
I remember seeing that.
Oh, and he's holding it back here. I'm like, let go of the damn ball. And then he did, and it's a seed, and it's a perfect throw. Like, good Lord. That should really be a big part of this offense when you're doing bubble screens and counter. Like, the seam should be there, and we need to catch the football. Sandman, if only we had Navy's offense. Beat Memphis 56-44. Yeah, I hear you, Sandman.
They're no James Madison.
That is correct. Setting records against North Carolina. Let's see. Trey, a team one-upped us in the false start illegal procedure mistakes, and it won us the game. We're going streaking down the quad and into the gymnasium. Thank you. I love the old school reference.
Nice reference.
Yeah, it's a good reference. Yeah,
I don't think Cal's used to people actually cheering and being loud during games, even though that was probably a lot fewer fans than FSU usually has in Doe Campbell.
Yep. Trent, DJ ran a lot. He did, just slowly, but we appreciate the contribution. Brandon, appreciate the sticker as well. And then how about this for some optimism from Aaron? Hear me out. 9-3.
Oh, my goodness.
The emoji tells you the sarcasm.
That would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Ecuador man, AOG. All right. Glenn must be really bad. Future is bleak. Thank you very much. Next up is, let's go. Well, he's got to jump the line. It's Z-Chan. Yeah, Z-Chan gets the fast pass into the post-game call-in show. Go ahead, Zach. Thank you for calling in.
What's up, Gene and Tom? How are y'all?
We're winners today. We are winners. How are you?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Making a drive up to Thomasville right now. Man, I'm so stoked that we got the W. It wasn't pretty, but I'm going to give my crown of the game. Honestly, I'm going to give it to DJU. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't pretty, but the fact that he was able to come in there and get the W, and I feel like that man needs our backing, needs our support. So I'm going to give it DJU. Honestly, I'm so excited to be driving home with a win and not a loss. It feels a whole lot better than it used to. So I'll give it back to y'all. Thank y'all for your coverage. Thank you for everything. Just glad to be driving home with a win. It feels a whole lot better than it normally does.
It's all about that ride home. It's a flight home. It's a bus ride home, from back when we were in college, or it's a car ride. Man, it gets a whole lot more friendly in that cab as long as you win the ball game. I hear you. Look, you can crown whoever you wish, C. Chan. Again, we really appreciate the contribution earlier, but it was third down DJU that helped Florida State win this football game. A ton of throws on third down, Gene. That was the difference from him.
Yeah. It's you can be critical, and we've gone through a lot of that too. But I mean, when the chips were down and he had to make a 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 7 or whatever some of those plays, he made those throws.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a little bit like, how was he able to suddenly do this and hit these guys? And some of those little slant routes he hit, Tom, especially early on. There was a couple of those. Man, those were money. I mean, those were zipped in there, threaded. The coverage was pretty tight, and he got them in there, and the catches were made.
Slants. I know people in the chat are freaking out. What's a slant? There was one drive. It was perfectly DJU. There's a bubble to the left to Malik Benson that he throws in such a poor place that you get just 1 yard out of it.
I remember he spun around on that.
If you just deliver the ball somewhere in the vicinity of momentum that Benson can generate, you're in 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 5, but instead you're in 2nd and 9. The next play, it's a play action to the left, and Kyle Morlock is releasing in the flat, and he's wide the hell open. And you can make your jokes, but this is before the drop. He's right in front of him. Just throw it there. He throws it over the top and out of bounds up the sideline. You're like, what? And then the 3rd down play, to your point, Gene, was the Jalen Brown slant. That is just a seed and a dart, and it's right where it needs to be. That is the DJU experience. And at least we got to experience DJU with a win for once in his Florida State career. BF Noles, Mike is making decisions based on DJ's feelings. He's trying to will him to confidence. I don't know. If he's doing that, then they're going to lose a lot more football games, and I'm sure many of you think that might be coming. Jordan in Atlanta. We talked to you last time in December of last year, ahead of your times when we talked to you, Jordan, in December. But go ahead. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, I just want to start off by saying thank you for letting me on. I want to start off thankful, right? And I want to end up with a question. I'm thankful that we went 13-0. It was amazing, spectacular. I'm thankful that the defense showed up. I'm thankful that the team showed up tonight, right? They came with effort and attitude, and they wanted to win. I'm thankful for everything Mike's done. He's pouring into the team. I think he has the answers if we let him bring the answers. But I also want to question, why is he still leaning on things that aren't the answer, right? Like we obviously the season is lost. Maybe he thinks the season isn't. Maybe he thinks there's still something to win, and that's why he's still leaning on the answers that he brought in. But my question is, like, why, when we're averaging 15 points a game, by the way, we scored 14 today, so we brought the average down. We're averaging 15. We scored 14. That's how math works. I don't know. Like, why is he still leaning on what he brought in when the answers are obviously not the answers for the future? So I'm going to leave that to y'all. Thank you so much. I started the season with y'all in Dublin. It was a great time, except for the result. Yeah. And here we are. We've got a great result finally. Let's get 9 more, 10 more, 11 more. It's not going to happen, but I believe. Let's go.
There you go.
Go Noles.
Always believe.
Like the positivity, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan. Why is Mike stubborn? This is something we said on the shows this week on Warchant TV, that an S word was about to emerge if DJ starts the game. And it's one that a fan base often uses, Gene, when they're pissed off at the head coach. And it's stubborn. and it's now presenting, and you're starting to hear that more and more. There's no good answer, unfortunately, Jordan. I would love to be paid $10 million to try and figure out the answer to it. But Gene, you're banging your head against the wall often with this offense. And there are minor personnel changes. The offensive line had a little bit of shuffling tonight. It was good to get Darius Washington back, but you're seeing more of Cam Davis. The receivers, again, game to game, you can't really tell who's going to get targets, who's going to get the action there. But it is very much the same thing. And so Florida State produces similar to identical results. But there's no good answer.
Well, it is the overall writing thing is the stubbornness, because you think about it, it's not just the personnel, it's not just the quarterback, it's the play calling, it's the decision making on fourth downs and those kind of situations. It's just across the board. It's like he's got in his mind, if I keep doing this, I've recruited these guys. I think they're better than they're showing, and I'm seeing better in practice. Eventually, if I keep throwing them out there, it's going to get better. It's like that has to be his mindset, which we all know we've seen enough. There's enough sample size that this offense does not work in its current iteration. You have to change something. But I don't know. At this point, I don't know if he's ever going to do it.
Florida Man in Alabama, what was the change tonight? Atkins back on the sidelines or Jordan Travis on campus? I know Jordan was making rounds out there today. It wasn't much different. They called a couple of touched on this, different concepts in the run game, but it wasn't much different. Neither was the offense.
The defense is getting better.
The defense is getting, yes, correct. Offensively, there isn't much of a change, but the defense is getting more productive. Let's see, Seminole boy, thank you very much. Love FSU. We deserve better. Mike needs to be better.
Agreed.
I think that's the sentiment we are sharing tonight. Most everything is about Coach Norvell, but we are winners tonight. I do want to. I hear us, and every once in a while, you got to look. We were begging for this result just a week ago, and the week before, and the week before. I know it ain't pretty, but at least it's better than the alternative. That's why we can't be choosers, at least for one night. We now, for the 51st time in the history of Warchant TV and the postgame show, talk to Josh in Long Island. Coach Josh, how we doing tonight? Bringing you on right now. Go ahead.
I am doing. I actually don't even know how I'm doing, to be honest with you. It's good that we won. That's one. It's good that we won, but the same thing keeps rearing its ugly head in the form of our offense. And what it reminds me of, and this is why, while I will say this, I am in favor of Brock Glenn being the quarterback. I understand why he is not, for a couple of reasons. Number one, our receivers look like that Pitt game. Like that's what our receivers look like all year long.
Yeah.
They look like that Pitt game that even Jordan Travis had trouble getting us out of, and Ja'Kai Douglas once again comes up big. And then secondly, I think that as a coach, if Mike is looking at DJ just outplaying this guy every single day or most of the days, it's hard to just make a change because you want to see something different, because the players notice it too. If the guy is throwing interceptions in practice or, not going to the right read, like the players notice it, and then they're going to see the youth movement and they're going to be like, well, so it's a tricky thing. So, I mean, while I am in favor of it, I understand why it's not happening. But I just have the question about the receivers. Like, what were all these guys that we got in the transfer portal, we got so much faster. What the hell did we look at over the spring and summer, or even in the recruiting process? I have no clue, because these guys can't get open to save their life. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. Didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it's what it is. We had a 13-0 season last year. This is ridiculous.
That's the one thing, and thank you, Josh. We really appreciate it as always. This is something that we did talk about at length, Gene, in the spring and fall camp. Where's the receiver play going to come from? Are you leaning on Hakeem Williams to be the difference maker? Is it going to be Malik Benson and his speed? You're not taking a lot of shots with the speed that you brought in. That's one of the frustrating things. It's all seemingly underneath. But that's been, something that we were concerned about before the season started, and it's been that way. Guys just aren't winning their one-on-ones.
Well, and Josh brought up a good point. I think going back to that Pitt game last year, it's very similar.
Yeah.
When you take those elite wide receivers off the field, again, the offense did not look very good in that game, even with Jordan Travis. And here we seem to be in that situation again. And you got to wonder, and again, I hate to say what ifs, but what if Destin Hill is healthy? Because we saw last spring before he got hurt, he looked like he could be a difference maker. Definitely someone who could have stretched the field a lot and maybe added something to this offense. But yeah, there's a lot of fails on the transfer portal, and some of these guys that look pretty good. You think I'm still waiting for Akeem Williams? He seems to have all the ability. He's splashed a little bit today. But, I mean, somebody has to start stepping up and being the man. And right now there isn't anybody.
Yeah, Hakeem 2 for 22 today. Jaylen Brown 2 for 29. Jakai was the star, but if you're looking for somebody else, Malik Benson 2 catches, -4 yards. I mean, so it's thin. And to Josh's point, he's like, we're Florida State. How do we were depending upon Destin Hill, and that's it? Like, fair. 100%.
Well, you're depending on him and Hakeem, and you got Benson in, who you thought was going to be a serviceable. You know, I think we've known he's not a number one. No, he might have been a serviceable number 2 or number 3 type receiver.
And I think Benson feels let down. This is me reading into it. I think Benson feels let down by the quarterback. There's a lot of chances.
True.
I mean, he had an over-the-top shot this week. He was ready to scream DJ. Yeah. He did scream DJ down last week a few times. It's he's frustrated. He's trying to break loose. Trustin, thank you very much. He says, thank God for our defense. DJ looked okay. That's about it. Not the right fit, but we need Brock because he will be able to scramble. Is DJ hurt? Love you guys. Thank you for the coverage. Go Bucks, Trustin. Let's see if we can go to 3-0 tomorrow. We touched on that. We think that there's he
doesn't look right. And just watching, just out of your eyes. We don't have any specific knowledge, but go back and look at him playing last year and how he ran and how he does now. It doesn't seem like the same guy.
Yep. Scott wants to talk about the defense, so we will talk about the defense. Scott in Palm Coast, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Gene. Denise and Scott here from the lovely Palm Coast Ocean Hammock.
Very nice. Very nice. Welcome back.
Just want to I was very impressed when Quindarius came in at corner. They targeted him right away, and he actually stepped up to the plate there. I'm not sure who he came in for. I also want to be positive about the fact Toa Philly, he gives us a different kind of dynamic, like just a quicker scat back, finding that hole. He's been in the system a long time. Want to get your feelings about that. Obviously, we got major issues. If we're going to roll with DJ, might as well just do quick slants and then a couple over the top, because obviously the other stuff's not happening. Maybe a tight end stem. Just want to get your thoughts on that. And hey, Denise and Scott, we are happy with the dub. And I'll let you guys go.
There it is.
Yes.
Scott.
See, some fans are a little happy. We can try to be happy with the dub.
Dylan's happy. Defense came up big. When they didn't, Cal got a penalty. They finally come up big. You still need to see Brock, but, man, I'm happy. There is. Yeah. This is better than doing a postgame show after a loss. I promise you. T-Spark feels that way, too. Let's see. Chris says, what I'm curious about is the big games coming up with Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame. How do we think we compete with those teams?
Oh.
Do we compete with those teams?
Why bring us down? I don't want to think about that right now.
Baby
see Clemson today put the beat down on NC State. Woo.
Yes, that's coming to town in a couple of weeks. Hitman, try to do $11 for Brock Glenn. If Mike is worried about future transfer portal, he needs to be concerned about the future high school quarterbacks coming to Florida State. Go Noles. Come on, Mike. Thank you, Hitman. We appreciate it. We'll count that as 11 bones. We now go to Gulf Breeze. And this is the first time we talked to Swiss since November of 2020. I like these little show notes that they have in there. So for the first time in a long time, Swiss, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
How's it going, gentlemen? It's nice to be doing this after a win. I'm sorry you had to put up with all the BS for the last 4 games, I guess. So I'm going to throw a wrench into the questions tonight, and I'm going to talk about DJU versus Brock. So I guess my question would be, it seems like DJU running the RPO. I don't know what you guys see when you get to go to practice, but like as other people have mentioned, and I think everyone who's watched the game knows, he does when the R part is called, he doesn't exactly go very fast.
Right.
And sometimes I don't think he's getting the right read. So I just want to know what you guys have seen in practice when DJU is actually keeping the ball. Like, what do they do as far as like, does he actually go forward? Does he find the right seam? How do they treat him when when the defense meets him because it just seems like either sometimes he misses the read, or like when he does keep, it's just like, why would he do it? It's just, we're not going to get very far with it. I don't know. That's why I'm more of Team Brock here. I'm glad we got the dub, but on the other hand, I feel like if Brock isn't in, it's because he's worse with the reads, right? Because he's the more mobile quarterback. So you think if he does keep it, we're going to have an advantage. But he must be either really bad when it's the P part of the RPO, or he's just not seeing it. So I just want to know what you guys have seen in practice. I'm just taking from the reports, but yeah, at least it's not 0-4. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it, Swiss. I'd say, Gene, from what we see, when they run an RPO in practice and the quarterback's in a green jersey, first of all, it's tough to simulate anything. Defenders would get pissed off. I remember when Jordan was the quarterback. Defenders would get pissed off. They're like, well, I mean, I can't even run at the guy. So, like, what? You're going to give him a gain of 18 on that play? It'd be a gain of 12, but I'd drive him into the ground. So it's hard to simulate an RPO with the quarterback keeping in that situation. The thing I can say, again, is I feel like, Gene, this is not a guy who's at 100% when it comes to running the football. Doesn't mean he ever was going to be a Blazer. Doesn't mean he'd be as fast as Mendoza was tonight for Cal. But he's clearly got a hitch in his giddy-up. And when it comes to the reads, I think they trust him more. I think they trust DJ more because he processes the entirety of the offense better than Brock does at this moment. But if you're Mike, the choice is, all right, but I can't move him around. He doesn't move, and nobody respects his legs. So that's the math Mike has to do. In that
I agree. And I think Swiss also nailed it on the P part of the RPO. When we're in practice, what we see, and I think you see it in those third down situations that, let's face it, DJ was pretty good hitting those tonight. Talk about some of the other plays, I can disagree, but yeah, he was pretty good on those plays, and I don't know if in those situations if Brock is going to be as consistent hitting those kind of plays. So that's the issue, and I think that's the holdup on why Mike has not made the switch. He doesn't have enough confidence in Brock consistently throwing the football. But I mean, again, it's that weight is having that ability to run and fully use the RPO, all the options effectively.
Yeah. Would
that outweigh some more inconsistency throwing the football? I mean, Mike's obviously decided, no, I'm better off to stick with DJ, even with his limitations.
Well, and it's the thing that we're going to talk about all week long. I mean, this is not going away. BF Noles, when your offense sucks, the backup is the most popular guy on the team. That is true.
Yep.
Is Brock better or just different? You guys can watch practice. I'll trust your opinion. He's different, and he's not as consistent as DJ. Fair? I mean, that's what it is, unfortunately. But the offense would be designed completely differently for Brock. Gene, they would call a bunch of different looking plays. The formations would probably be pretty different as well. Jeff says, I've seen enough of DJ. He hasn't done enough to keep his job. A good quarterback. We win by a good quarterback. We win by 3 scores. That interception was killer. That's Gene, it was funny. He's like, in the NFL in that situation, third and obvious, you throw a pick there. The only thing you can't do, like, that's how you get your ass benched like immediately.
Well, how do they call it in the NFL? The play's going to be able to dump off to the running back.
Right.
In that situation, put you in better field position to kick. Whatever you're going to do. That's what's almost every single time in the NFL. They're not going to have especially a quarterback that's inconsistent, not a great passer. They're never going to have that play where they're forcing it in the middle of the field like that.
Yeah, fair enough. You could call a run on that play, take it out of his hands, and kick the damn field goal.
Or dump it off, one or the other.
Fair enough. Captain 850, 177 yards. The worst part about the win is that it gives Norvell a pass to keep running. Oh, geez, that bump. Fair enough, 850. He's got. Nice. He is Captain 850 this style. I think that
yeah.
We appreciate you, Captain. We now go to our final caller of the evening. It's Spartan Noles 71. He made it from Hawaii. He made it under the wire. We are so happy to have Ralph on here. He is Warchant Ohana. Welcome, Ralph. Go ahead.
Aloha, guys. Thank you for taking the call. I know it's been a long show. I don't want to tie everybody up. With the way games are going, we obviously know DJ is a one-year quarterback for us. But with the way these games are going, either holding on to a lead at the end or still close enough theoretically to strike and get a victory potentially, are we in danger of about to go an entire season and not get our next year's quarterback any quality playing time, knowing that we have the 4th-ranked team in the country as number 1 in our schedule next year? Thank you.
Oh, it's a great question. And I love the pivot here because Spartan Noel was calling for a win all week on the chat, all of the live chats. He said, we got to be positive. He got the win. We got the win. He's like, there are bigger fish to fry for the future. And I agree with you, Ralph. I 100% agree with you, Spartan Knoll. You have to find out what you have, because you're going to have to portal a bunch of dudes in here anyway. And you don't want to portal over some people that will get disgruntled and leave because they never got a chance to play, Gene. That is a big picture CEO thing to think about right now.
Yeah, and I brought that up earlier. There's so much to gain by giving them a shot, just because, it's obviously one thing we can conclude so far. DJ is a better practice player than a game player, at least in this system and this setup with this coaching and these play callings and everything that's in there. It could be the opposite for Brock or Cromenhawk, whatever. They could be much better in games than not. But again, it's so important to learn. I think Ralph nailed it. I mean, you have to know going into next year, you need to have that quarterback. You don't want to be in that situation. Well, we got a couple guys who are young. We don't know if they can play in a game. Do we need to get another transfer portal guy? You can find that answer out here over the next 9 games. Find that answer out.
Well, and they did it on the defensive side. Like, Gene, when you look at the Pro Football Focus grade, individual grade smart, the participation report is going to be massive. You'll see a ton of names. I saw Ashlyn Barker got some run out there at safety. KJ Kirkland was out there. Hussey was out there. Edwin Joseph, Jabril Rawls, Quindarius Jones. Aaron Hester got some run tonight at defensive end on one series. They're running a lot of dudes out there. On the offense, it's not quite to that level. Not even close to that level, really. One more word from our friends, our sponsors, T-Spark Enterprises. If you're suffering from storm damage, T-Spark knows how to work with the insurance companies, and he helps navigate the insurance process to help put your home back into pre-claim condition. Again, if you're looking to renovate your home as well, T-Spark can help with bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodeling, outdoor additions, and all the stuff that you need for your house. He is beyond just a roofing service. He is a general contractor. He does commercial tenant build-outs as well. T-Spark Enterprises is an outstanding organization for North Florida, South Georgia, everywhere from Tallahassee to Bainbridge to Cairo. He's got you covered. You can call him at 850-766-1340, 850-766-1340, tsparkconstruction.com. That's T-Spark Enterprises, where we conquer all peaks. A quick break with T-Spark. One more message from him. Travis will be on the screen here for just about a minute. We'll come back, wrap it up here on the Warchant Postgame Call-In Show.
Greatness is built through passion, perseverance, and an unyielding commitment to one's trade. It starts with dedication and the relentless pursuit of perfection. The early mornings, the late evenings, the sacrifices made, all for that one moment of knocking it out of the park. On every job we do, T-Spark, we conquer all peaks.
M. Lanton says, I have to think that the AD or big boosters are asking Mike why he doesn't change the quarterback, even for a series. Who can possibly get through to him? What's funny is, Gene, I'm looking at a higher up at Florida State who decided to text while the show was going on and said, offense is not, in all capital letters, good, is not good. So, M. Lanton, you're right. There are some people that are connected that are less than thrilled with what the offense is doing. South Georgia Knoll, we need the entire FSU beat to rally together and ask Coach the same question over and over. Why not give a different quarterback a shot?
I love it. The Monday press conference, we'll just get together and go every single question, all of it. We'll take turns. Everybody asks the same question over and over.
That'll go over really well. Coach Mike with DJU in the offense, is that professor who explains something 4 to 5 times and can't understand why you don't understand when it's so easy? Yeah, that's almost like at a Goodwill Hunting, FSU fan. Let's see. Rubbish is back in the fold. Do you guys think an offense led by Brock or Luke or Wildcat scores more than 14 points tonight? Go Noles. Yes. Gene?
I do too. I think, just throwing some, you have a great point with the Wildcat there. Then, by the way, I'm going to jump in here. I just retweeted on the Warchant account. We have our Rock Breakers, and yes, it was Joshua Farmer, as we suspect, but also, I think it was Edwin Joseph. Yeah, Edwin Joseph also got to break the rock. I mean, how about that? How awesome is that for that young man?
I'm telling you, Gene, again, he gets beat in a 3rd and long situation. It might have been the 4th and long. I forget now. There's so many long situations that we gave up. But Edwin, I like when the young kids are allowed to fail and grow from it. Edwin Joseph has a lot of instincts. He plays downhill. He plays physically.
All right. We're getting in trouble playing this video. We got in trouble doing that before, so.
It's on
All
X.
right.
Good Lord.
Well, we did. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you don't get
a hold of yourself. We're promoting
I know,
your
we got flagged before, but yeah, credit to Seminoles.com or whatever.
Yeah.
We make sure we don't get in trouble for putting that out.
Guys,
try to give those young men some credit.
You just won a football game for the first time this year. Do you want the promotion? I'm sure you do, Florida State. You're welcome. Jeffrey Batts says, everyone is screaming to pull DJ. Did it ever dawn on us that the backups might not be any better? Glenn did not show me anything versus Louisville and Georgia. The other kids may simply not be ready. Okay, so one of the rare people that is saying, I understand what Mike's doing.
It is a good point, and I think a couple of people have brought that up, and even Zichan, brought that kind of in DJ's corner a little bit. Look, it is a difficult situation, and we back it up that Glenn generally is not as consistent throwing the football as DJ in practice. So it is a little bit of a, I think he needs to make the leap because the games are not working. The offense, frankly, it sucks. You got to do something to change it.
Yeah.
But I understand when the guy is not performing as well, it's kind of a little bit of a difficult jump, but you have to make that jump.
You're my boy, Blue. Anyone else get 2011 OU game vibes? Fourth quarter, I think. Backing them up into the end zone with false starts, Warchant, general noise. That did resemble that moment with all the procedure penalties that they had. It was the different end zone. And I think that was in the first half against OU. And OU did end up having to punt. Those are the three differences. But I thought about it, Blue. I did. I don't know, Gene, if you thought about that at all. But I think it was 3 penalties that Cal ended up taking in that situation.
I swear on your show, if you go look at the view, I think it was the second one they called, the football didn't move. They just didn't even move it. If you go look where the ball was spotted, and then the next time when they're lining up after the penalty, the ball's in the exact same spot. I know you're only going to move 6 inches or whatever, but they didn't move it at all.
Yeah, I'd say also, one of the Stones moments of the night goes to Justin Wilcox, the head coach of Cal, who kept on throwing out of his end zone. Like most coaches.
He was playing with his life back there, man. I thought, and the thing is too, I was telling my buddies, they go, there's no way they're throwing on third down. They're going to take this chance because the punter is screwed.
Yeah, that's right.
If they throw an incompletion there.
He kept on throwing. He's crazy, but it ended up working out for him.
Yeah.
They also got away with the delay of game when he rolls left when we would have gotten off the field.
How about the 12 men off breaking the huddle with 12 men? You see that one? That was when they ended up getting a delay anyway because I think we came on late, but when they broke huddle, that was the 12th guy that went off the field to substitution.
Oh,
they never called that either.
I didn't see that. No,
missed.
The unfortunate thing is if they rolled that play where they were late on the snap, there was a hold in the end zone. You would have gotten a safety out of that thing. Instead, they end up moving the ball, and it flips field, and that sucked. Available now on Warchant TV. I'm looking at it. Coach Norvell's press conference. Perhaps he's asked about the quarterback situation. I don't know. It's after a win, so maybe not. But I'm putting that link in the chat for everybody. We're about to close up shop here, but the link to the Mike Norvell press conference is available there. You can expect the Warchant wrap to be up very soon, presented by Vitamin Energy, I do believe, with Corey and Ira out there stadium side on the field, Bobby Bowden Field. There will be a Pro Football Focus set of grades coming up tomorrow on warchant.com as comprised and composed by our own Gene Williams. Look for that on the Tribal Council / the content section of warchant.com. And, of course, you'll have Corey's column coming up very, very soon to warchant.com. All the things from the stadium that include a new commitment. Running back Byron Lewis is in the fold for Florida State's 2025 class, Gene. A lot of stuff coming to warchant.com in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, we never stop. I'm sure Iowa will later have his 3-2-1 later in the week, which I always look forward to. Really good perspective on things. And all kind of shows. I know we've got you got the Smash coming up Monday night, right?
Yep, that's correct.
You and I are back in the fold.
Yes, we are.
That. Of course, JCS every day, 1 o'clock, you get that. And, of course, first thing in the morning, man, get your Wake Up War Chant. And subscribe to that on Spotify, iTunes, all those good places.
Wake Up War Chant will be first thing in your inbox on Monday mornings. Even on this channel, I believe they go live at midnight. So if you're a night owl, or if you're like Ralph and it's dinner time, just log on and check out.
Well, I've heard so many people that get up. A lot of people, unlike me, like to get up 4 or 5 in the morning, start their day, and they just love it. It's there waiting for them. Podcasts are a wonderful thing.
They are. They really are. They save a lot of time, too. They're very efficient operations. But we'll have all that coming for you on warchant.com, Warchant TV. We want to thank Tampa Noles for the final comment of the night. A lot of contributions from a lot of you today, and we're very grateful. We don't enunciate every single one of them. Sometimes they're stickers, and sometimes they're funny. But it helps us do what we do here at Warchant TV. So we are grateful. Tampa Noles, if we lose another ACC game, does Norvell make a change at quarterback? 2 ACC losses. There's still a distant chance. 3 ACC losses, and you're surely finished. So I don't think Tampa Noles is rooting for another conference loss, but I think maybe maybe his rationale, Gene, is there would be a watershed moment for Norvell to say,
that point has been brought up about this, that he doesn't want to bail and start the youth movement because he's still whatever. There's it's the old line. You're saying there's a chance. It's probably less than 1%, but there is a chance, and maybe he's clinging on to that and doing it that way. And that's a good point, Tampa Noles. If you lose that third one, the ACC, obviously, it's pretty much mathematically done.
Dave's calling for a bowl. Z-Chan, again, thank you very much. He says, hey, we won. Be happy, fam. Agreed. This is better than the alternative. That was the theme of the night.
Absolutely.
Beggars cannot be choosers. We thank Director Ben Spicer behind the scenes. We thank Terry, who is always awesome at screening the calls, lighting up the lines for us. Everybody that's involved with the show makes it a little bit better and makes it a better product for you. We're grateful for all of their support. Thank you out there for everybody who participated in the chat. Whether or not you contributed to the program, you advanced the discussion. And so you make the show better. Thank you for being here. Head over to warchant.com or head over to some press conference videos right now on the channel. It's all available to you. We will catch you next week for the Warchant Gameday Postgame show built by T-Spark Enterprises. It'll be another late night, 8 p.m. kick.
And ACC Network, right, Tom?
Oh, that's wonderful. I can't wait.
I think it is. I can't wait for the commercials. It's been too long.
It's my 2 favorite things for commercials, Gene. The Super Bowl and ACC Network game. This is the best.
They're so similar.
So cheers, everybody. I'm going to give myself a little nightcap before the night is out. I'm going to pour one as we go out. Gene, cheers to you. We now can drink again on this show. We will talk to you all
and
next
hopefully we'll
week.
be drinking late next Saturday night. Hope everyone has a good one. Be safe getting home. Those of you like Z-Chan who are still trying to get back to their place after the game. Thank you, Tom. Great work. Ben back there. I don't know. I think Terry was back helping us screen the calls again.
Yep.
Everything went well tonight. So that's a win. That's 1 in a row.
We're on the road to 2 and 3, everybody. Cheers, everybody. Have a great night. We'll talk to you next time.